Hi, this is David Armstrong with another edition of our Musical Theater Factory vlog. And my guest today is Kyle Scatliffe, who is creating quite a stir in our production of Oklahoma, where he's giving an amazing performance as Judd Fry. Welcome, Kyle.
Hey, thanks for having me.
So, you had told me that this was a dream role for you. Talk about that a little bit, if you would.
I first had my experience with Oklahoma with the 1998 Trevor Nunn production with Shuler Hensley as Judd Fry, and that was the first time I'd seen it. I've heard some of the songs beforehand, but when I saw the role, he was such an underdog, and that's what I always loved about this part, is that Judd is that guy that even back in high school, that didn't get everything he wanted. He wasn't the popular kid, but he had heart, and he had feelings, and he had things he wanted just like everybody else did. And to play a part like that, it's so complex, because then you have, his wants, his needs, and then what's stopping him from getting those things. And I always thought that someone like that is such a complex person, and I could relate on a certain, everyone can relate on that level. In high school, you're in love, and you can't get the person you're in love with, kind of thing. So I always thought it was a role that was just so meaty and so fun to do. So just getting a chance to do it now is just fantastic. I love it.
So when we had auditions for the show in New York, you auditioned in New York for it. Were you surprised to be called in for Judd? Was there any way like, oh, they're casting Judd as an African American? Was that a surprising thing, or did you just assume it was par for the course?
I remember when I got the email from my agents and I saw it, and I went, African American Judd. I was like, that's interesting, because I'd never heard of it done that way before. Of course, in Portland, they had just an all black cast. So I actually was hoping that the context was going to be that Judd was African American, and it was exactly what I hoped it was going to be. That in a community of people that were black and white, and I was like, are they going for that angle? I was like, I hope so, because I would love to be the first person to do this. And I was surprised at the same time that I was very happy and hopeful, because for a part that, it usually is played by like a big and a white male, hulking white male, yeah. So for it to come out that way, and for me to see that it said African American, I was excited beyond belief. I was like, if I can do this audition correctly, I was like, if I can convey what I'm trying to convey, and the director sees that, and I could get it. So I was just so happy.
So, have you been surprised by the controversy that it's come about? I
have, mainly because of the fact that there are other African Americans in the show, and a lot of people have been talking about stereotyping and the representation of black male stereotypes. And I've been surprised, because there are other representations of blacks in the show, and none of them are like the way I am in the show. So I felt that maybe people just saw that, and then they didn't see the rest, or they saw that, and it's so like, poignant when those moments happen, especially in the smokehouse, that I think people saw it and they were like, whoa, but then there's this representation of this community of people that are gelled together, and they're having a good time with each other. And so I was a little surprised. I thought it would cause a conversation, because it's theater. That's what it's supposed to do, cause conversation and about the world we live in, or the world we want to get to. That's what theater does. But I didn't think it would get to like the fever pitch it's at. It's pretty amazing, actually. Yeah,
it is. But I think that's, for me, one of the important things is that musical theater has this ability to connect with people and really touch people and really mean something to them.
Exactly.
And that's partly why I think this controversy is there. And I think also what's so interesting is the diversity of opinion. For as many people as there are who are, sincerely bothered by this, that somehow they're having a visceral reaction to it, and it upsets them. There are just as many people who don't even know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And who don't see that the racial issue in any way, shape, or form. And then I think there's a whole third set who think it's brilliant, think that it's, and maybe even making more of it than we intended, in terms of it being something that's bold and exciting and interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm not sure that we intended any of those three things to happen.
They all just happened.
Yeah.
It was just one of those things where, you read Oklahoma, and then when you read it again, thinking of Judd as an African American, it just, all the words just jump off the page, and you hear everything more. You realize how Curly himself may not be the nicest of people, and how close that him and Judd kind of are as human beings, with little parts of their lives. The little things are really what change people. So when you make Judd African American, you hear everything more, and I think that's what happened. So people heard the play in different ways. People heard it in a way that was a little more edgy to them. People heard it in a way that I guess offended some people. But then there were people in the middle that just didn't notice. Right. So.
Well, it's interesting. People swear that we've changed the script, or we've updated it, or rewritten it, and every single word is exactly the same as Rodgers and Hammerstein wrote it.
Same words,
but we hear it differently because you're on the stage.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating in a way.
It is very fascinating, very true. A lot of people. I even read at one point today that someone was talking about the swearing. And women wouldn't swear in 1907, and I was like, wait, but it's written that way. I was like, but it's already written that way. Rodgers and Hammerstein, they wrote it out that way. So I think they're talking about damn, like
it's not really as hard to even know what swearing they're talking about.
Yeah.
But I think it's also one of the things, if most people have seen the show from the movie, which was somewhat watered down because of the production code in Hollywood at that time, that you could do things much more boldly on Broadway than you could do in a film at that point. Mm-hmm. Or they've seen it in high schools. And, of course, in high schools, they're not going to emphasize any of those elements in a high school production. So I think for many people, they're actually seeing Oklahoma for the very first time in a full, big, professional production the way it was intended to be done by Rodgers and Hammerstein.
Yeah. A very interesting thing about that is that it seems to be that a lot of people that have never seen the show at all, they came and watched it, and they love it, and they love it a lot. And then people that have seen the movie, they'll talk about how Judd is more sympathetic, so it was a little weird for them. But that's because Lonely Room doesn't exist.
One of the
movie.
I had a woman who wrote to me today who had never heard the song Lonely Room before and thought we invented it for this production. And it's because it was cut from the movie, and it's often cut from high school productions and things like that. Yeah. So for the first time, they're hearing this song that makes Judd so amazingly sympathetic. And I have to say, the way you sing it is really phenomenal.
Thanks, Dave.
Really amazing.
Thank you.
So thank you so much. We've got another few weeks of Oklahoma here.
Yes, we do.
Exactly. And look forward to seeing how it all develops.
Me too. Yeah.
Thanks. And join us next time on our Musical Theater Factory vlog.